In this video, we're gonna go all in on charts and graphs. This is where so much of the meaningful data in our reports, dashboards, presentations, and PDFs live. And it's also one of the highest failure areas in accessibility audits. Welcome to the Accessibility Guide channel. My name is Sean Jordison, and let's jump into the ring. So today I want to give you two things. First, the anatomy of an accessible chart, what it actually takes to make a chart work for everyone. And second, a reusable workflow you can apply to any chart, in any document, anywhere. By the end of this session, you should be able to look at any chart in your work and know exactly what's broken and how to fix it. So here's the plan. First, we're gonna break down what makes a chart accessible, the anatomy of it. Then, we'll distinguish the three layers of text equivalent because there's some nuance that sometimes trips people up. When do you use short alt text? When do you use a long description? And when do you reach for a data table? Then we'll ground all of it in the law and the WCAG success criteria so you know exactly what you're being audited against. And finally, I'll give you a 6-step workflow that you can reuse on every single chart from here on forward. We'll close by running that workflow on a real bar chart so you can see all 6 steps in action. Let's define our terms. Charts and graphs come in a lot of forms. Bar charts, line charts, pie charts, scatter plots, stacked bars, combination charts, area charts, and so on. They each look different, but here's what they all share. Every chart communicates a message, a trend, a comparison, a proportion, a relationship. The message is the whole point. It's the reason the chart exists in the document. And that message is exactly what your text equivalent has to carry to non-visual users. The cardinal rule for the rest of this video, a chart is always informative, never decorative. If a chart is genuinely just decorative, you shouldn't have included it. Once it's in the document, you have to treat it as carrying meaning, and you have to make that meaning reachable. Let me make this concrete with 2 examples. First, a colorblind manager. They open up the quarterly report and there's a line chart of revenue versus cost. But both lines are the same shade of green to them, and the only thing distinguishing them is color. They are about to make a financial decision based on the chart they cannot read. Second, a screen reader user. They hit the same chart and what they hear is a bar chart. That's all. The actual numbers, the very thing that the chart was built to share, never reaches them. In both cases, the insight or the chart was built to deliver simply doesn't arrive. That's the problem we're solving today, and that's why this isn't optional. Let's do some quick legal grounding. Same as the rest of these other videos, ADA Title II updated in 2024 requires WCAG 2.1 level AA. Section 508 covers federal law at WCAG 2.0 AA. Section 504 covers HHS funded organizations at WCAG 2.1 AA compliance. Now we also have our Colorado House Bill 21-1110, which requires state and local government entities to make digital services, websites, documents, and other information accessible to people with disabilities. But here's the practical point I want to make sure you walk away with. Charts inside of PDFs and slide decks, those count too. Not just charts on a web page. A lot of organizations treat the website as the only place to apply accessibility, and then they publish to a PDF or an annual report with 20 broken charts. The law applies everywhere that your content lives. Now there are 5 WCAG criteria you need to keep top of mind for charts and graphs. First, we have 1.1.1, non-text content at level A. You need a text alternative for the chart. 1.3.1, info and relationships at level A. This is the one that most people miss, and it's where your accessible data table lives. 1.4.1, use of color at level A. Your series have to be distinguishable by more than color alone, so add patterns, direct labels, or shapes. 1.4.3, contrast at level AA covers your text, labels, titles, legends, and 1.4.11, non-text contrast at level AA, covers the visual elements themselves, the bars, the lines, and the data points. So 5 criteria, and you can hold them in your head as text alternative, no color only, contrast for text, contrast for elements, and a data table. Now, there are often some recurring problems I see, and one is just generic alternate text. The whole alternate text is just the word chart, or graph, or bar chart. That's a failure of 1.1.1. 2. Color-only series. 2 or more lines or bars distinguished only by color with no pattern, no label, no shape. That's going to be a failure under 1.4.1. 3. Tiny, low contrast axes labels. The chart might be fine, but you can't actually read the numbers. That's going to be a failure under 1.4.3. 4. Pie slices that are indistinguishable without color, especially for users with color vision differences. And 5, the big one, the one that defeats the whole purpose, no accessible data table behind the visual. Even with perfect alternate text, if there's no underlying data table, a screen reader user might not be able to evaluate the numbers appropriately. That's going to be a failure under 1.3.1. So here's the workflow. 6 steps that work on any chart every time. Step 1, state the message. Before you do anything else, write down what this chart is supposed to communicate. Step 2, write alt text for the takeaway. One sentence that names the chart and states the headline. Step 3, provide a long description or ideally a real data table. Step 4, fix color, add patterns, add direct labels, and use a colorblind safe palette. Step 5, fix contrast, both text contrast and non-text contrast. And step 6, test it. Run a screen reader, check it with the grayscale test, view it with a contrast checker. All right, here's our starting point. We have an inaccessible bar chart of revenue by region. Step 1 of the workflow is to state the message. What does this chart actually do? It exists to show revenue by region and to make clear which region is leading. Now, let's look at what's broken. There's no title, so the message is invisible. There are no axes labels and no value labels, so the exact numbers are unknown. The bars are encoded with red and green only. That's the single cue distinguishing the regions, which fails 1.4.1 immediately and is also a problem for any colorblind viewer. And the alt text is just a bar chart, which fails 1.1.1. We have to apply the fixes. This is steps 2 through 5. Step 2, write alt text for the takeaway. In this example, we're going to write bar chart of revenue by region fiscal year 2025. Region C leads at $5.6 million. That single sentence already gives a non-visual user the headline. Step 3, the long description and data table. Every value spelled out as selectable text so a screen reader user can navigate the actual numbers. Step 4, color. Drop the red-green only encoding, switch to a single hue with a varying lightness, and add a hatch pattern on the leader so the takeaway never depends on color alone. And step 5, contrast. Bump the labels up to a darker color and make sure the bar charts themselves have non-text contrast against the background. Step 6, test it to confirm that the message lands. And here's the result after step 6. Look at what's changed. The title now states the message directly. Region C leads at $5.6 million. That means the headline reaches the reader instantly, before they even look at the bars. The chart uses a colorblind safe palette with value labels and a hatch pattern marks for the leader. So the takeaway never relies on color. The axes is labeled and all 4 values are selectable text, meaning a screen reader can read them and a low vision user can zoom in on them. This is what an accessible chart looks like. So let's recap. A chart's job is its message. So the most important thing you can do is make the message reachable. Don't bury it in a titleless, labelless, color-only visual. Color is an enhancement, never the only cue. Make sure to pair it with patterns, labels, or shapes, and always pair that chart with the data label. The visual is for sighted users with a quick comparison need. The table is for everyone else, and the sighted users who want the actual numbers too. That concludes today's deep dive video on the accessibility of charts and graphs. If you want me to help you get accessible, book a meeting with me right now. We do training, document remediation, and accessibility consulting. So don't wait, book a meeting with me right now. And as always, I can be your champion for inclusion. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you over in the next video.